York's classic rock, Q1043.
John Lodge is with me from Moody Blues fame at Q104.3, New York's classic rock. Hi, John. Thank you for joining us. You look great. How are you feeling these days?
Yeah, feeling good, thank you. As I say, I've been working out with a private trainer for 3 times a week for the last 2 months, trying to get fit for the tour. I'm looking forward to the tour very much.
I mean, this is what we've always said, classic rock. We go on and on and on. The Stones were just in town kicking butt. And the Days of Future Past tour, the State Theater in New Brunswick, beautiful theater. I love that place. July 13th on Long Island, the Patchogue Theater, July 17th, July 18th, the Warehouse in Fairfield, Connecticut, July 20th, Tarrytown Music Hall. John, November 10th, 1967, this album comes out called Days of Future Past. And we just celebrated Sergeant Pepper's June 1st, Breakfast with the Beatles. So here we are, 2024, and the bands that launched in 67, the albums that were created in 67, and I am still playing them, not because we're not a nostalgia station. We're not an oldies station. More than half our listenership is under 34 years old.
Fantastic, fantastic.
How do you explain it? It's the quality of the music. I don't know. What else do you think?
I don't know. I think we were at the start of something, the music in that period of time. And vinyl was exploding, stereo vinyl records with a double sleeve. You could read who wrote the songs, who played on them, engineers, producers, everything. And it is a whole experience listening to a record. And we've lost that with modern
Sadly.
recordings. And I'm still a vinyl person. Still want to know who wrote the songs, recorded, sang, produced, engineered, because it's all part of the encompassing plethora of music, and it's what made us all from the 60s into who we are now, I think.
I mean, when you think of how fast the music progressed, early Moody Blues days with Denny, may he rest in peace, and Go Now, and Beautiful, and how, we talk about the Beatles, how it morphs from She Loves You, Yeah, Yeah, Yeah. A year later, Eleanor Rigby. A year later, Turn Off Your Mind, Relax, and Float Downstream. We get Tomorrow Never Knows. And then by 67, it's like all the rules. You guys broke every rule there could be, but the world came with you. It wouldn't, if it didn't sell, Sergeant Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band was a dud. I think maybe you don't get to make Days of Future Past. Maybe the record company goes, no, lads, we need like 3-minute pop songs.
It's like, in a way, where Musk came from nowhere.
Right.
Launched this electric car, and a rocket's going up everywhere. and that's what it felt like, because no one had done anything. Everyone was driving along the AM road.
Right.
2.5 minutes, AM song, really poppy. And we decided that wasn't for us. We got to go a totally different route. And if nobody liked the music, they didn't like it. I met a promoter just recently, and he promoted one of our first shows in the UK when we released Days of Future Past. And he said, I couldn't believe you got on stage and you said to the audience, you can sit down if you want to. Because he said at the time, everyone was dancing or wherever. And suddenly, this is band telling everybody, sit down, listen, we're going to take you downstream.
And that's your tour these days. The Days tour is just absolutely phenomenal. I get a sense, like I wasn't there then, but this tour, folks, when John does Days of Future Past, I think John Davison is singing with you. Is he on this tour?
Yeah, John.
Our beautiful voice. He's just done Yes. He's works with you. and handles Justin's parts. I think, is that correct?
Yeah.
I mean, it's alive. That's the thing. I mean, another example, a few years back, it was just pre-COVID. Nick Mason came to town with Saucer Full of Secrets, and the promoter said, well, I'm thinking maybe we'll put it in, town hall or a club. I'm like, you need a bigger venue than that. So sure enough, he took a chance, booked the Beacon Theater. They immediately put a second night on at the Beacon Theater, and it was booked, or he could have played a week. And when I tell you, going to see him doing early psychedelic Floyd, and Jane, my wife, and I were two of the oldest people in the crowd. That audience was teenagers who, I swear to you, were all dressed like they were going to the Roundhouse or the UFO Club in 67, 20 somethings. They had the stripes and the mods and the hair and the flowers. It was unbelievable. I felt like, yes, this is the point, is that this music is so special. When you hear it, it just grabs you because it doesn't sound like that 3-minute AM pop record. It just doesn't.
Yeah, yeah. I think when you listen or watch like the History Channel, and they're talking about ancient mysteries and all that, and they're
Right.
talking about portals where you go into this portal and come out somewhere else. I think that's what's happening to the music today. We're going in that portal, like your guitar hanging up behind you there. People are playing guitars again, want to experiment on the guitar, not press a button and let an algorithmic keyboard play
Yeah.
you the song. People going back to the basics. And I think because the record industry is totally changed now. It's gone really as an industry, but
Absolutely.
the live music is still there, and people live music. You have to go back to the basics, and I think the young people today are going back to the basics and going, oh, this is pretty cool. This song, this album from '68 or whatever.
100%. I mean, you can, with AI, and you could press a button, AI can create anything that sounds like what already exists, but it
Yeah.
can't create a song that will make you cry. And it certainly can't create something you haven't heard before. And that's the difference. We can go on and on. My dear friend, Steve Hackett, who said, I'm asking everybody, all my friends, a quote about peppers. And he said, I think it was in Camden Market. There was a shop that had all the cool frocks that he was shopping at. And he's hearing this Indian raga thing that was amazing and psychedelic, and said, what are you playing? He said, the Beatles. And he said, no, no, what's on now? He said, that's the Beatles. No, the Indian thing. He said, no, this is the new Beatles record. And he said, I just
Yeah.
sat down on the floor and went, if this is the Beatles, then I can take my guitar into the studio tomorrow and play literally anything I feel like, because there are no rules. And I just thought, it just seemed to me, and this is my own perception as a kid, that each of you were listening to what the last album that came out, going, okay, great, they did that. Where can we go? Where do we go next? How do we take that further? Is that a sense of it?
Yeah, it was you hit the nail on the head there. No rules. There were no rules. When we made In Search of Lost Chord, we said we're going to make this album. Everything on the album we're going to play ourselves. If you don't know how to play it, we'll get a book and learn it. And we did. I remember I played on Ride My Seesaw, I played cello. And I loved the sound of cello, never played cello before. So I tuned it as a bass, EADG, and I played the cello that way. And a couple of years later, I'm working with the cellist and said, you're playing the song back to front. Why is that? He said, I'm not. I said, well, that note. He said, no. I said, oh, don't you tune a cello in same as a bass? He said, no. And,
Didn't
there you
matter.
go. No rules. It didn't matter. It didn't matter.
Didn't matter. I mean, you look at the album credits, as you said, No, it's fun. It just makes me laugh sometimes when the Grammys come up and Song of the Year, and half the audience gets up. There's 37 people who come up on stage, and most of them are computer programmers.
Yeah,
And what I always say on the air, get you and your mates, get some beer, sit down in the garage with some instruments, and just play until you hear something where you say, "Oh, that's kind of cool. What was that?" That's the beginning of your first song. And then
yeah.
just go, because nothing else will be better than you guys tired 2 in the morning and somebody sings a lyric or somebody plays something on the bass line. You go, hey, wait a minute, that's something. I mean, that discovery, the joy, there's no joy in pressing a button on a computer and going, having it make a song. To me, the joy is you guys sitting in a room and seeing what you can come up with. There's pride in that.
There's something magic as well. And when we recorded a song, we all sat around this coffee table. I've still got the coffee table actually in store, and some great stories. If the coffee table,
Thank God that table can't talk, huh?
yeah, yeah, but it's in the '60s. All the hotels had this long, fluffy type carpet,
Right.
and this table's covered with that fluffy table. But you'd stand there and play a new song to the other guys. And once you played the song, it became a Moody Blues song. It was no longer yours. You'd gifted it to the rest of the guys, and they did the same. And they added everything that they could see from their perspective what the song needed. And it was a great way of recording a song. And there was a magic at that moment when the five of us latched on to a song and everyone was saying, oh, the tambourine should go like, or guitar should go like that, and drums should go. It was magic to be there. And the sort of relief in a way, you presented something. You're standing there naked when you write a song.
Right.
It's your whole ego on trial there. But when you've passed it over and everybody's added to it, you come so excited. And I know when we put the first tracks down, you'd go home of a night and you'd be singing the song all night. You wouldn't be able to sleep. All you wanted to do is get to the studio the next day and finish the song.
Oh, it's just wonderful. So we get to see you come in our neck of the woods, July, Days of Future Past, My Sojourn, which I love because, Seventh Sojourn, is the music so near and dear to me. It's basically, sadly, now it's you and Justin Hayward keeping the flame alive. What's your relationship with him? Because I know you've done Blue Jays together. It's always tough to keep long-term bandmates and friendships, but are you on speaking terms? Is it okay?
We still work obviously through the same office, and we're emailing each other because there's a lot of things to talk about. Moody Blues, obviously, and but Justin lives in Monaco. It's a different world where I live. I live here, basically in Florida, and it's a small world, but in a way, it's a long world.
Yeah.
He wants to go along his road, and I want to keep the Moody Blues music alive because that's why Days of Future Past. It's my sojourn. It's my history. It was the biggest moment musically of my life, and the Moody Blues, Days of Future Past, and my sojourn is me looking back over the history of the band and bring it up to date today. That's what I see it.
It's always been part of our collective story. I've always said that the one rock and roll, classic rock, we have the biggest tent on the musical fairground. On any given day, I mean, I'm playing Moody Blues, Harry Chapin, for our local Balladeer. I'm
Yeah,
playing Metallica, Motley Crue, Creedence, and all the executives in our world today going, well, you can't do that. Well, you can't cross 4 decades. You can't cross 5 decades. And I always have to remind people, the audience doesn't think like you. You're
no.
this business executive, or you can't cross 5 decades. And I try to explain to them, do you understand when you say you can't play music from the 60s? There's Mrs. Brown, you've got a lovely daughter. And then there's Purple Haze, and they're both in the 60s. We got Days of Future Past, and there's Cliff Richard. It's not the decade, it's the sound of it. That
It's a,
that
as a son of the History Channel. It's a portal we all go through. It's got no time limit at all.
That's
That's
exactly it.
what I love about the music I'm involved with and the music I love. I could play every day of my life and enjoy every moment of it.
We are so lucky when somebody says to me, "Do you wish you were younger?" And I say, "Well, I love my life, and I don't. I know at some point my body will start to fall apart, and little bits of it don't work as well as they used to, and things like that. But do I wish I was 20 now and missed all that, miss seeing you guys, missing the music originally? Never in a million years to have grown up in the greatest age to me for music exploration, where I learned jazz. I learned classical music, not from a book, from you,
Yeah,
from yes. My teachers were Keith Emerson, Rick Wakeman, the Moody Blues. That's where I learned classical and jazz. That's what took me through all these paths that opened up all this music to me. And here we are. It's like a blue rose. It doesn't happen in nature. Every teenager loves the music they grew up on, that first kiss, first coming alive. But of the pop groups of today, if you tell me that 50, 60 years on, they're going to still be touring and playing that music to packed houses, I'll say, well, I don't know about that. McCartney's out, Ringo's out. We just saw the Stones sold out 2 nights in a stadium. They could have played a week. You're touring. Yes is out there. Carl Palmer's keeping ELP alive.
yeah,
I love it. I
yeah.
love it.
It's great. It's fabulous.
John, I can't wait to see you when you come to town. Continued success. One last question. When you play it on stage, when you're performing this album, of course you're in the moment, but there's got to be some part of you that always goes back to the days of creating it and playing it live the first time, I would think.
Yeah, I think in a way it's even more than that because when I'm singing a song which Ray wrote, say, I don't only think about the song. I try and be Ray singing a song because I would like him. I would have liked him to be proud of what I did for him. And when I think about Ray, it's not just on the stage. It's when we was 15,
Yeah. Yeah.
going to a gig and going on the local transport, you know, because we couldn't afford any private transport. We went on the bus
To
with
the
the
gig, of
guitars
course.
and amplifier and the drum kits, and we used to hide behind the bus stop. So when the bus came on, it didn't see all the equipment. And that's the only way we. So I think about all those things
Of course.
when I'm on stage, particularly when I'm introducing a song. I'll think about when Ray wrote it, or when Mike wrote it, or when Justin wrote it. It, it's and in it's something inside that comes out, and you can feel it.
I
So
totally,
when Graham narrates his poetry on stage, and you see Graham come up on the screen, it's a magic moment. It stops me my tracks every night, and
of
I think
course.
it stops the audience. Those things are magic to me on stage.
Of course. Ladies and gentlemen, the star and lead singer of El Riot and the Rebels. Wasn't that the band? John, did I get it
That's
right?
right. Yeah,
El
right.
Riot and the Rebels, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, if you don't mind, one more time, because you told me the story and I've probably repeated it on the air 300 times, but if you don't mind, one more time when you were El Riot and the Rebels, and that night in the pub in Birmingham in the club when some upstarts from Liverpool became were the
Yeah,
headliners. Do you mind
uh,
one more time?
yeah. We used to play at a club, a village hall, or the
Okay.
town hall, as you say in America, um, where once a month, and we were always top of the bill. And it's called Tenbury Wells. It's near the Welsh border, not far from Birmingham, and we were always top of the bill. And we're very proud to be. And we got there one year, and the promoter came and said, "Oh, guys, uh, you're not top of the bill tonight. I've booked somebody from Liverpool, uh, and they've just released a record. This must be October '62. And they just released a record, so they're top of the bill." And he said, "Anyway, I'm paying them, I think it was like $150. And I think he paid us $25." And that was the first time I met the Beatles, and they were so different because playing only their own songs, but also American songs, which missed the radio in England. So I've never heard these songs before. And they are playing them. And I was listening, and I thought, oh, that's different. That is different. And yeah, we took some photographs. I've got a photograph of that night. And it's a great memory. Great
Uh,
memory.
John Lodge, thanks so much for sharing as always. Great. I wish you health, success, safe travels, and we'll see you in July one more time. The State Theater, New Brunswick, love that place. July 13th, July 17th on Long Island at the Patchogue, July 18th, the Warehouse, Fairfield, Connecticut, and July 20th, Tarrytown Music Hall, The Days of Future Past, My Sojourn. John Lodge, thank you so much. All my love, and hey, all my love to Emily too, please.
Thank you very much, Ken. And safe travels wherever you're doing. Enjoy.
All right. I know we'll catch up somewhere along the way
Yeah.
here.
Bye-bye.
New York's classic rock, Q1043.